It's Monday, May the 22nd, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, Barbados cries out for international help in fighting new types of money laundering, which the Attorney General fears threatens the island's way of life. Speaking during this morning's opening of a regional workshop on anti-money laundering at the Radisson Aquatica Resort, Adriel Brathwaite even called on Canada, whose High Commissioner was present.
I am hearing unofficially we're going back to the dark days of people moving money by aircraft because banking resources are not being made available and stuff. And Madam High Commissioner, if there's one area that I believe that as an international partner that Canada can help us with, it really can damage our economies, damage our way of life. If what we are seeing and what we are hearing, I think Belize has had some issues in terms of losing some corresponding banking relationship. I know the Bahamas has had some issues. We are very concerned about it here in Barbados. But we're going to need some international assistance in terms of lobbying Washington, going into London, wherever the headquarters are.
Meanwhile, the Director of Public Prosecutions is telling commercial banks here to review their anti-money laundering security systems. Charles Leacock warned that banks can no longer rely on documentation from customers to detect dirty money.
We should seek to build a new partnership, not only among law enforcement and the judiciary to enhance the resilience of the system, but also to work with the other sectors of the financial sector, namely through the financial intelligence units and the banking sector, because it's the loss of corresponding banking relationships that's impacting significantly on the profitability and viability of financial institutions. And towards that extent, it's equally in the bank's interest to ensure that they have proper anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism initiatives, that they also have tax transparent initiatives to ensure that those doing business with them can be properly identified and the nature of the transactions properly assessed for the risks that they might pose.
And Canada's High Commissioner, Marie Legault, said this morning's workshop forms part of a $3.6 million anti-money laundering program which her government is funding for the Caribbean and Latin America.
Money launderers do seek out countries and economic sectors in which there is a low risk of detection, and they do exploit differences between national anti-money laundering systems and countermeasures to launder illicit funds. So that's why it's so important that all systems has less differences between them, so they can not be as exploited as they currently are. Failing to tackle money laundering allows criminals' activity to continue. And with the numbers that we were talking about, they have the resources to continue.
In other news now, this country's fixed exchange rate is here to stay, at least under the ruling Democratic Labour Party government. The assurance came from Prime Minister Francis Stewart while addressing a Central Bank of Barbados Awards gala at the Concord Experience at the weekend. In March this year, former Prime Minister Owen Arthur suggested that Barbados cut its fixed peg with the US dollar and settle instead for other currencies to help stabilize the local money. But Prime Minister Stewart said Barbados must stick with its fixed exchange rate, with the central bank playing a pivotal role.
Central banks that operate in countries with floating exchange rates may have to focus differently in particular circumstances from countries that do not have a floating exchange rate. Since Barbados has a fixed exchange rate, which we need to defend at all costs, our working assumption is that maintenance of a healthy level of reserves and prudent management of the fiscal deficit are vital to facilitate growth and to maintain confidence. In Barbados, with the level of reserves always a matter for special consideration, a strategy of disciplined management of exchange control has evolved under the careful guidance of the central bank.
There's regional and international news after this short break. When it comes to your family, what do you dream of? Enjoying the sights of Italy, seeing the Eiffel Tower for the first time, or experiencing the cuisine of Spain? Courts can make your family dream come true. Shop at Courts for a chance to win a dream cruise for a family of 4. Spend $999 or over at any Courts store or online at shopcourts.com. Every $100 gets you a chance to win that cruise to give you more fun time with your family by cruising the Mediterranean, a value of over $20,000. So stop dreaming and start shopping to make your dream come true at Courts, bringing value home.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Pilots of regional airline Liat have given the company a June 1st ultimatum to honor its new salary deal or face industrial action. In the latest development, President of the Leeward Islands Airline Pilots Association, Captain Carl Burke, said they were issuing a final appeal to the company to make good on that salary package offer which the pilots accepted in January this year. Captain Burke said failure to honor the contract by June 1st, the association will have no other choice but to act in order to protect the interests and the rights of its members. The Guyana government is considering reducing the penalties for recreational use of marijuana. However, it has rejected a suggestion by opposition leader Barack Jagdeo to decriminalize the use of small portions of the drug.
What triggered this is that we've seen cases where somebody has a tiny bit, one cigarette, marijuana cigarette, and they get sentenced to jail for 3 years. You have big traffickers who have a lot of money, but they have good legal representation. They don't even get any jail time.
The view expressed by Mr. Jagdeo on behalf of his party goes totally contrary to the government's position on the use of the herb. Can you provide the government's position on decriminalization of marijuana, especially small amounts?
Well, I see the new ganja man in town is talking about these matters. But what is important, I think, is that we have a more enlightened society. And therefore, statements that are made by some politicians at their press conferences, I need not respond to them here.
And on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump said today that he had gone to Israel from a weekend visit to Saudi Arabia with new reasons to hope that peace and stability could be achieved in the Middle East. On the second leg of his first overseas trip as president, Trump was to hold talks separately with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and at gas stations near you, as well as Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.